This is my culture. If I can't embrace how my hair grows from my scalp, how can I embrace myself? How can I embrace where I've come from?
I'm not averse to relaxing my hair. I know it's obviously like a political subject and people are like really against it.
But a lot of my friends who work in like corporate companies, they can't wear their hair a certain way, or they have to wear a weave or something because it's not seen as professional.
Eurocentric beauty standards have historically deemed Afro hair as unattractive and unprofessional. But does society and the black community itself still have a hard time accepting natural hair? My name is Serge. I'm a filmmaker from London, but I was born in the Congo. When I was younger, some of my friends at school had their hair braided in cornrows, but I couldn't, because, as my dad made clear, we don't do that in our culture. So it was strictly a level 1 or 2 trim with a skin fade. But these decisions are far from trivial. To understand the significance of black hair, I began by exploring its roots in history. For centuries, black communities around the world have created hairstyles that are uniquely their own. But the slave trade changed everything.
One of the methods that the slave masters used was to try to dehumanize the individuals that they were enslaving. One of those things was to categorize them. The lighter the skin, the easier the hair was to manage in Western terms.
It's been the root of a lot of discrimination. After the abolition of slavery, when people wanted to get in work, even as a musician, they couldn't walk past without having to go through the pencil test. If in a big musical hall, at the entrance, they'll be told, if you want to pass, this pencil has to be put through your hair, and if it falls to the ground, you can come in. If it gets stuck, you can't come in. So without saying, if you're black, you can't come in, they would say, it's an indirect way of saying, if you haven't got European straight hair, you're not coming in.
And while some struggles of black hair are based in history, others go back to our first experiences of black hair in childhood.
And why did you come into it?
To get my son's hair done.
So what's it like having to do a black son's hair?
It takes time. It's took me a while to learn, but just watching other people, really. You've got to sport that fro, haven't you?
I hated getting my hair done. It was, you see my baby pictures, everyone laughs at me and say, Lucrece, what the hell is going on with your hair?
I just, heard the shaver come into my head and I just lost it. I just remember crying and crying.
My first ever memory of my hair was just sitting in between my sister's legs and like holding tight while she came with my hair so tight.
I don't remember my natural hair as a young child. I realised that was the starting point for me not viewing my hair as good hair.
By the time I'm 17, I've got an afro in and I've got a comb in the afro, walking around, just trying to, a self-representation, trying to find yourself.
Minstrel shows in the 19th century mocked the hair texture of black people, comparing it to wool and often describing it as nappy. To be accepted in society and to achieve a higher social status, some women began to straighten their hair. So what is it like to have your hair chemically relaxed?
It's kind of like a form of self-degradation. You're burning your scalp to the point you've got scabs in your hair to make your hair straight, to fit in with this Western concept of beauty.
I think I was 19 or something, and literally most of my hair on my left and right temple, it gone. I'd used a relaxer that had literally just burnt all the way through.
You have to get retouches, and then your scalp starts to burn and you get little sores.
I was just starting out swimming and she was it's probably the easiest way for me to look after it. She'd relax it, then braid it, so it lasts for 6 weeks. It's hard to ignore the pressures of wanting to look good day to day.
Relaxers are made up of chemicals like sodium hydroxide that destroy kinks in the hair and leave a straightened look. In the 1980s and 90s, relaxers became the norm, and images of black women on television and magazines usually featured straight, relaxed hair. But things are changing, and many women are now embracing their natural locks, thanks to a new wave of the natural hair movement. This is Clarissa MacDonald, founder of Curly by Nature. She runs workshops encouraging women to embrace their natural hair.
Just by the definition of relaxing the hair, you're destroying the hair, so you're damaging the hair. So relaxed hair essentially is in a damaged state because the bonds of the hair is broken down.
I hate my natural hair. Like, I don't like people seeing me with my natural hair. Like, even my friends, I'll hide from them from like seeing me with my hair out. I always like to have like weave-in or like extensions. My last partner, he'll be like, "Oh, just take off your wig." Like, it's comfortable sleeping without a wig, but because I didn't like myself, I wouldn't let him see me without a wig. So sometimes he'll be asleep or something, and I'll run to the bathroom, put my headscarf on, run back in bed. If I know he's about to wake up, I'll go back and put my wig on.
The whole natural hair journey is like long.
The natural hair movement actually emerged in the 1960s when sporting an afro became a symbol of black power, self-love, and solidarity within the black community. This was a time when black people were still fighting for basic human rights like equal employment, voter rights, and integrated public facilities.
We all have choices, and you can wear your hair natural, you can have your hair in protective styles and decide to wear weaves and wigs. You can relax your hair if you so choose. Having natural hair isn't easier, but for me, it's better.
I've probably been guilty of times of saying, I don't like weave. Why are these women wearing weave? And they need to take the weave out.
When it comes to going natural, the next hurdle black people face is in the workplace.
For years, there have been too many cases of black employees and applicants denied employment or promotion because of the way they chose to wear their hair.
So when I first started working at my company, I wore a wig for 3 years. And when I decided to then sort of embrace my natural hair and just go to a work environment and be natural, I was aware that I was making a political statement.
I would not wear my hair out to work just because it's big.
Particularly if you're going to workplaces that are predominantly white, then you do feel like you need to conform and you need to look like everybody else that works there. You don't want anything that makes you stand out.
Your hair must be, trimmed, cut low, and etc. But then I'm seeing colleagues of mine with long hair, blonde, or whatever it might be, and there's no mention of how they should keep their hair.
And I feel like I wouldn't be taken as seriously if I had blonde hair like this in the office and I'm going into a meeting with, say, a partner and a high net worth client. A lot of us, unfortunately, a lot of black women tone ourselves down in the corporate world. Hopefully I get to a point where I feel like I don't have to.
Historically, advertisements reinforced the notion that natural afro features were inferior. It's no wonder then that some of these negative perceptions still linger.
For me, growing up, there were very few role models. So I think I struggled for a bit as a child and as a teen.
Whenever I went to like a wedding or somewhere nice, I would straighten my hair.
I thought straight hair was the epitome of beauty.
And I just thought to myself, why is it when I'm going somewhere nice, I feel that my own kinky hair isn't beautiful?
It comes from media, it comes from films we grew up with. And like most of the women we look at growing up are white women.
I think now it's starting to change a little bit. You see more kind of black women with their natural hair on magazines, you see them more on TV, even though you don't see, I don't think there's like a complete representation.
But what is being done to celebrate afro hair in the media? To find out, I caught up with LEKIA, the founder of Project Embrace.
Project Embrace is a platform that was established to challenge the narrow perception of what it means to be beautiful, especially to have beautiful hair. And generally in the media, especially in advertising, black women are almost non-existent. And that's when I decided I would do a billboard campaign. Clear Channel got back to me and said, it's a worthy campaign, we're going to support you. When they said they're giving me billboards in 7 cities, I was beside myself. I wanted just 1 billboard in London and they're giving me 7 billboards. Wow.
By looking back at the struggles and pressures black people have faced throughout history, it's clear to see why self-hair love can be a journey. Hair, I would come to discover, is as much about self-expression as it is about self-identity and cultural representation. No matter what we decide to do with our hair, the most important thing is to embrace it.
Because ultimately, accepting your hair is sort of accepting yourself.
We basically want every young black girl to feel confident. We identified that growing up we struggled with identity.
No matter how much we try to enhance, what God's given us naturally is always going to be better.
We can't expect great things from our young people and teenagers if we are telling them they're not good enough.
We're all perfectly imperfect.
Whatever it is, whether it's your weight, your complexion, your hair, you just got to embrace it and understand this is you.
You can't expect someone to love you if you don't love yourself, and you have to know yourself to love yourself.